welcome to Sir-Kenneth's Talk Show! Good day and welcome back to this new edition of Sir-Kenneth's Talk Show. Today we are going to be talking about another YouTube movie. It's called In His Arms. But before we begin, please note to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and don't miss another episode of Sir-Kenneth's Talk Show. Without further ado, let's get into it. So this movie In His Arms came out a couple of weeks ago, like 2-3 weeks ago, and it stars Maurice and Regina Daniels. They are the lead actors in this movie. Okay, now before I get into the movie, let me just say this real quick. I feel like Maurice and Regina Daniels have reached that point in their careers where no matter what kind of movie they release, there's always going to be people who are going to watch the movies and love just because it's them. I feel like they've reached that star power in the Nollywood film industry, that, you know, no matter what they release, people are always going to love their movies. Even if it's a trashy movie, people will still turn up for them. But anyway, let's get into the movie. So like I said, it stars Maurice and Regina Daniels and a couple of other actors whom I'm not very familiar with. So this movie is about this guy who is a lifeguard. I don't know if they call them lifeguards or swim coaches. Anyway, someone who teaches people how to swim. I'm pretty sure it's a lifeguard. Yeah, so he's a lifeguard and he stays with his friend. They're like brothers that are very close. And you know, there is this woman who is constantly stalking him. At the beginning of the movie, we're not sure who she is, but the woman turns out to be his mother. It's at the end of the movie that we realize that his mother was stalking him at the beginning of the movie. And you know, this lifeguard is the main character, of course, played by Maurice. I think his name is Jamal. Yeah, I've never seen a Nigerian with the name Jamal. Let me say that first. I've never seen a Nigerian anywhere with the name Jamal. So I don't know if... Anyway, that's a minor. Yeah, so this Jamal guy, he is a lifeguard. And so he recently broke up with his girlfriend, who is played by Regina Daniels, of course. And, you know, he feels that his girlfriend has left him for a richer man, which is not actually the case. Technically, yes, she did leave him to be with another man, but it wasn't out of her own will. She was trying to pay debt. Her brother's debt, who was into gambling, and you know, he gambled everything they had, and the last option they had was to it was hard to marry this rich guy her brother was owing. So anyway, let's dive back into the movie. So Maurice becomes a lifeguard for this girl because the rich man she's engaged to is planning this big wedding. And you know, he's teaching his wife how to swim because he wants to have a pool wedding, whatever that is. And you know, he hires a lifeguard, and unfortunately for him, and fortunately for Regina Daniels, the lifeguard that is hired is Maurice. But anyway, the first lifeguard that was hired wasn't Maurice, was his friend. But his friend had an injury, so he couldn't keep up with the lesson. So he begged his brother friend Maurice, Jamal, to take over, and which he does. And you know, eventually they get back closer to each other. You know, they link up again, and then she explains her own side of the story. And you know, this rich man she's engaged to gets really pissed off, and you know, he almost kills Maurice. Jamal. Oh, forgive me. He almost kills Jamal. And you know, at the end of the movie, Jamal's mom is actually a really powerful lady in politics and in the society. So she ends this rich guy. His name is Oscar. She ends Oscar and makes sure he's arrested at the end of the movie. And you know, at the end of the movie, Jamal gets his girl back, and everyone is happy. Okay, so you know what I said at the beginning of this video, like, you know, Maurice and Regina Daniels have reached that point in their careers where no matter what kind of movies they release, people are always going to show up and turn out for them. Yeah, because this movie, I feel like there wasn't enough depth in this story. There was nothing like, you know, that triggered my emotions in this movie. I feel like him getting his girl back was way too easy. It was way too easy, in my point. It was really way too easy, especially considering the fact that this Oscar guy was actually a very powerful somebody in the society. I mean, yes, we get that his mother could have been a powerful lady, but I feel like it all happened just too fast. Like, yeah, that's just my opinion. And also, his mom looks like pretty young. She looks like she's in her 40s, while Maurice Sam looks like he's in his 30s. Like, I mean, they would have gotten an older lady to play his mom. Yeah. And also, there's a point in the movie where, well, first of all, the one thing I like about the movie, I like the dynamic between the main actor, and his friend. Like, they have like a very close brother relationship. I really appreciated that fact. And I was really disappointed when these dogs attacked him on the road, and he was fighting. Well, he was moving with his friend and his girl, and the dogs attacked him, and his friend ran away and left him there to fight alone. Like, I was really disappointed in his friend for that. But the good thing is that he apologized later on for leaving him alone, and I really appreciated the fact that he apologized. That's true friendship. And so that's one thing I really did like appreciate about the movie: the dynamic, the friendship between the main actor and his friend. um One thing, like I mentioned the name Jamal again. Like I said, I don't know, I've never heard any Nigerian with the name Jamal. I don't know, I know this is the 21st century, but this guy is a grown man. He's like 30. He's in his 30s. So he wasn't born. He's not someone from the Gen Z generation. If it's someone from this generation, like, I'm like, okay, yeah, things are changing. People are trying new things. Okay, so but if this guy is at least 30 years old and his name is Jamal, like 30 years ago, the Nigerians named their children Jamal. I don't know. I'm curious. I'm not a Nigerian, so but I've been watching Nigerian movies since I was a kid. I've never heard or seen a Jamal in any movie or in real life. So, but anyway, that's, like I said, that's a minor issue. Yeah. And also, like, the dialogue. Well, the dialogue was good. The acting was good. Really, the acting was good. But the lady who played his mom, Jamal's mom, her acting, for me, she could have done better. Okay, yeah. But generally, the acting, like in general, the acting, I think, was good. Everyone did give a fairly good performance. Maurice did his thing. Regina Daniels did her thing. Even the actor who played Oscar, he did well. Yeah. But my top performance though will go to the actor who played Jamal's friend. Like, he was very funny. Yeah, my top performance will go to him. Yeah. So if I'm to rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give it a 6.5 on 10. 6.5, because, like I said, the movie doesn't have enough depth in it. I remember when I was growing up, um I remember Blood Sisters. I'm sure everybody and their mamas have seen Blood Sisters at least once in their lifetime. Blood Sisters was that kind of story. Like, it had depth in it. Okay, you watched it and it triggered your emotions. And it's not just Blood Sisters. Just there's a bunch of Nigerian movies we used to see when we were growing up. I mean, the acting, the storylines, they were so meaningful. Though they were of low quality, but if you compare, like the general approach, like the general story of a Nigerian movie that came out in 2003, 2002, and a YouTube movie that came out last week, the YouTube movie has a better quality. Today's YouTube movies have better qualities than Nigerian movies that came out in the early 2000s. But those movies that came out in the early 2000s are classics. Like, they have, like, people still go back. People still talk about those movies till today. This movie that came out, like, In His Arms, I don't know if people will talk about it in the next 20 years the way they're still talking about Blood Sisters today. That's just my opinion. I don't know if it's going to have that same impact that Blood Sisters had. I'm just taking a random example. I think, but I would like to believe that that's why it's a YouTube movie. I feel like the bigger movies, like the movies with more depth and the better storylines, I feel like those movies are destined for theater releases. I feel like this is why these YouTube movies are. I feel like they're a bit rushed sometimes. Like, they just want to rush, hurriedly do a movie and like release it for everyone to see and get views and likes and everything. Yeah, so that's why I said, like, Maurice and Regina Daniels, they've reached that point where people are always going to view their movies, even if it's good or bad. People will always view it. I feel like at times some of their movies, they don't really um, put in much effort into the storytelling, but the acting is quite good. I'm not going to lie, but if they could put in more effort in the storytelling, then you have a great movie. So like I said, I've rated this movie. I've given, on a scale of 1 to 10, I've given it a 6.5 on 10. Am I going to be seeing this movie again? No. But if you want, I'll recommend it to you. Like if you just want to spend time to like just to get your mind off things, I'll recommend this movie to you, In His Arms. Yeah. So that was it for today's episode. I hope you did enjoy our talk on In His Arms. Have you seen this movie before? I'd like to hear your thoughts down in the comment section. What other movies would you like me to react to? Okay, please stay tuned and don't miss another episode of Sir-Kenneth's Talk Show. Bye. Peace.